greatest betrayal comes from the person you love most. Riverside Grand Hotel ballroom with crystal chandeliers, 400 guests, 12-piece orchestra, and champagne at $800 a bottle. And me, I walk in the door wearing my 15-year-old suit with worn leather shoes where the calluses on my hands are visible. My daughter Amanda, in her wedding dress, sees me, freezes, and her face turns pale. She runs, grabs the microphone from the orchestra conductor, and shouts in front of 400 guests, "This man doesn't belong here. He's embarrassing us." Silence falls, complete silence, where the crystal glasses freeze in the air, the guests freeze, and the orchestra stops. And I just smile while taking a business card out of my jacket pocket, a small business card showing Morrison Holdings, LLC. Because this hall, this magnificent hall, is mine, this building is mine, and this $1,200,000 wedding is on my property. And now in 15 minutes, I'll shut everything down, everything. Because my daughter is ashamed of me where she said I don't matter, and suggested a separate barbecue party with my construction worker friends. But she forgot one thing. She forgot who I am. This is me, Richard Morrison, 68 years old, from Massachusetts, Boston. And this story is about my daughter not inviting me to her wedding and me teaching her the lesson of her life. Because sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes justice is needed. If you want to listen more stories of family conflict and revenge, please subscribe to the channel, because every day I share these kinds of real stories about real people, real betrayals, and real victories. Sometimes the happiest moment of your life is the most painful beginning. My name is Richard Morrison, and I'm 68 years old, living in Boston, Massachusetts, in a small apartment with 2 rooms in a modest neighborhood. I'm retired after working for 30 years in construction contracting, including buildings, houses, and commercial properties, through hard work, sweat, and calloused hands. But the real work of my life was different. It was Amanda, my daughter Amanda, my only child and my only family. She was born in 1981, 38 years ago when I was 30 years old, and my wife Sarah was 28, making us a young family and a happy family. But when Amanda was 6 in 1987, Sarah got sick with breast cancer, aggressive cancer that moved fast. She fought for 18 months through chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgeries, but she lost. December 1988 came when Sarah died at 35 years old, while Amanda was 7 and I was 37. And then I was alone as a single parent with a little girl and a huge responsibility. The first years were very hard because Amanda missed her mother by crying every night asking, "Where's Mom? Why didn't she come?" I didn't know how to explain it to a 7-year-old girl who doesn't understand death or loss. "Mom's in the stars, baby. She's watching you and she loves you, but she can't come," I would say. "Why can't she come?" she would ask. "Because she's in heaven, a happy place, but she hasn't forgotten you, and she never will," I explained. Every night before bed, we looked at Sarah's photo where I'd say goodnight to Mom. "Good night, Mom, I love you," she would whisper. My heart broke every day and every night, but I had to be strong for Amanda. I kept working in construction contracting, but now more. 16 hours a day and sometimes 18. Because Amanda's future and Amanda's education, everything depended on me as a single parent with sole income. Elementary school, middle school, and high school passed where Amanda was a smart girl, very smart, at the top of her class with math competitions and science projects where she excelled at everything. I was proud, very proud, where I'd say to Sarah's photo, "Look at our daughter. She's just like you, beautiful and smart." But the expenses mounted with tutoring, textbooks, computer, school trips, and everything costing money. I bought nothing for myself, keeping the same suit for 15 years and the same car for 20, a 1989 Honda Civic with no vacations and no restaurants where every penny went to Amanda. In high school, Amanda scored perfectly on the SAT with 1,580 out of 1,600, an amazing score, where Princeton, Harvard, and Yale all accepted her. Amanda chose Princeton. Dad, it's the best because the business department is excellent. Wonderful, my daughter. I'm proud of you, I replied. But inside, I'm panicking because Princeton's annual tuition is $50,000, where 4 years means $200,000 total. $200,000. How will I find it? But I will find it because I have to for Amanda's dream and Sarah's dream. The year 2000 came when Amanda started at Princeton at 19 years old, beautiful, smart, and excited. She moved into the dorm with new room, new friends, and new life. I stayed in Boston in the apartment alone, but happy because Amanda was living her dreams. She called every week, "Dad, the classes are amazing. The professors are incredible. The friends are great." "Wonderful, sweetheart. I'm happy for you," I'd reply. "But Dad, the books are so expensive. They want $2,000, she'd add. "Don't worry, I'll send it," I assured her. Every month the bills came. Tuition, dorm fees, books, meal plan, social activities, and everything. I kept working construction projects 16 hours a day, sometimes 20, including weekends. I had my construction crew with 15 workers who were good people and loyal people. Joe, Miguel, Tommy, and Frank, all of them. Joe asked one day, "Richard, why are you working so hard? Retire and relax." "Because Amanda is at Princeton and I need the money," I explained. "I understand. You're a good father and she's lucky," he acknowledged. But I was tired, very tired, approaching 60 where the body gets tired, the back hurts, and the knees hurt. But I couldn't stop because it was Amanda's last year. One more year where I had to hold on. Amanda graduated magna cum laude with high honors and a business degree. The graduation ceremony at the Princeton campus held thousands of families where I sat in the front row alone with Sarah's photo in my pocket. Amanda walked onto the stage, received her diploma, smiled, and waved at me. I cried silently, saying to myself, "Sarah, our daughter graduated from Princeton. If you were here, you would be so happy." After the ceremony, Amanda ran over and hugged me. "Dad, thank you. It's all because of you." "You're welcome, baby. I'm proud of you," as I replied. "Dad, now I want to do an MBA at Harvard, the best," she announced. My heart stopped because Harvard MBA means 2 more years at $75,000 a year for $150,000 total. "Amanda, I'm a little tired, so maybe you'll work for a few years then get your master's," I suggested. "But Dad, the momentum is there now. I have to keep going straight away." "Please," she insisted. I looked at her face, showing an excited face, a hopeful face, and Sarah's face. "Okay, sweetheart. Harvard, we'll do it," I agreed. 2 more years of 16-hour days and 2 more years of every penny going to Amanda followed. Amanda got her MBA from Harvard at 24 years old with 2 degrees, Princeton plus Harvard, making a perfect resume. After graduation, she said, "Dad, I want to give you something." I opened the envelope to find inside a check for $10,000. "What's this?" I asked. "From my first paycheck as a gift for you. Thank you for everything," she explained. My eyes welled up. "Amanda, thank you, but you use it and invest in yourself." "No, Dad, you deserve it, so please accept it," she insisted. I accepted it because for the first time Amanda gave me something, and I was very happy. But there were things I didn't know where Amanda was changing slowly by learning about another world at Harvard. The world of wealth, the world of the elite. And she had learned shame. Amanda found a job in Boston at McKinsey & Company, a prestigious consulting firm with starting salary of $125,000 a year. I was proud, very proud, saying to Sarah's photo, "Our daughter made it with a big firm and good salary where everything's perfect." But the visits became less frequent, going from twice a month in the first year to once a month in the second year to once every 2 months in the third year. "Dad, I'm really busy where work is stressful. You understand, right?" she'd explain. "Of course, my daughter, I understand," I'd reply. But I missed her so much because the apartment was quiet, empty, with just me. My construction worker friends would visit saying, "Richard, come play poker on Saturday." "Sure, I'll come," I'd agree. I felt comfortable with them because they were real people, honest people, and hardworking people. Amanda called one day with excited voice. "Dad, I want to introduce you to someone." "Who is it?" I asked. "Preston Blackwood, my boyfriend. We met at Harvard in the MBA program together," she explained. "Great. When will we meet him?" I inquired. "Next week, Sunday lunch at your apartment, okay?" she suggested. "Of course. I'll be ready," I confirmed. Sunday came where I cleaned the apartment and cooked chicken, potatoes, and vegetables. Simple but tasty. The doorbell rang, showing Amanda and Preston. Preston Blackwood III stood there, tall and handsome in expensive suit with Rolex watch and Italian brand shoes. "Mr. Morrison, it's a pleasure to meet you," he said while shaking my hand with cold hand and weak grip. "Preston, welcome," I replied. We sat down and ate where Preston spoke very little, being polite but distant with his gaze going from top to bottom, examining the apartment, the furniture, and me. Amanda was nervous. "Dad, Preston's family is in the textile business, and they're very successful." "Great. What kind of textiles?" I asked. Preston replied, "Factories since the 1800s as a family business for generations." "Impressive. Do you work at the factory too?" I questioned. "No, I'm in finance managing the family portfolio," he stated. "I see," I acknowledged. Silence fell, awkward silence where Preston looked at his phone often as if he was bored. After dinner, Amanda said, "Dad, let's go because Preston's family is having dinner." "Okay, sweetheart, have fun," I agreed. As Preston was leaving, he said, "Mr. Morrison, thank you. The home-cooked meal was delicious because I rarely get to eat like that." They left, and I stayed feeling uncomfortable because I didn't know if Preston was right for Amanda. In the following months, Amanda's visits became even less frequent, going to once every 3 months and once every 6 months. "Dad, we spend a lot of time with Preston's family because their world is different and very intense," she'd explain. "I understand, sweetie, but are you happy?" I'd ask. "Yes, Dad, I'm very happy," she'd reply. But her voice wasn't convincing, being a forced voice and a tense voice. Amanda called with big news. "Dad, Preston proposed." I was shocked. "What? Really?" "Yes. A diamond ring from Tiffany's." "It's so beautiful," she exclaimed. "Amanda, that's wonderful. Congratulations," I replied. "Thank you, Dad." "I'm so happy," she said. "When's the wedding?" I asked. "We don't know yet, but we're planning, maybe next year," she answered. "Wonderful baby, I love you," I said. "I love you too, Dad," she replied. I hung up and sat there for a long time thinking Preston was going to be my son-in-law and Amanda was going to be married. I looked at Sarah's photo. "Sarah, our daughter is getting married. I wish you were here to see this." But I had a worry inside me questioning whether Preston really loved Amanda or whether there was another reason. I didn't know, but I would find out soon. I would find out the hard way. Spring 2011 arrived when wedding planning began, where Amanda was excited. "Dad, Preston's family booked the Riverside Grand Hotel. The best venue, 400 people." "Great. When?" I asked. "June 2012, a year from now, because we need time to prepare," she explained. Amanda, the wedding expenses, who's covering them? I questioned. Preston's family, Dad. They're organizing everything, she answered. But I want to contribute too. How much are they spending? I pressed. She paused. Dad, the total budget is $1,200,000. I was shocked. $1,200,000? For a wedding? Yes, Dad. Preston's family has standards because very important people are coming, including business associates and social circle, she justified. Amanda, this is too much. Have a simple wedding, I suggested. Dad, please, this is Preston's family's decision, so don't interfere, okay? She snapped. Her voice was harsh where for the first time she spoke harshly to me. Okay, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I apologized. But I was upset, very upset, thinking $1,200,000 is madness. In the following months, Amanda drifted away where she didn't call, didn't visit, and was just in Preston's world. I kept working slowly at retirement age, but I still had a few projects. One day Joe said, Richard, how's Amanda? The wedding's coming up, isn't it? Yes, June, a year from now, I confirmed. Did you get an invitation? He asked. I paused, thinking about an invitation that I hadn't received. Not yet. I don't think they've sent them out yet. But I had my doubts, questioning why no invitation when there's a year to go and invitations should be going out. December 2011 came when Amanda called, Dad, can you come to Boston? We need to talk. My heart raced. Of course, when? Tomorrow, Saturday at noon at my apartment, she specified. Okay, sweetheart. I'll come, I agreed. I couldn't sleep that night because I was worried, questioning why she said we need to talk. Was it good news or bad news? Saturday came and I went to Amanda's apartment in downtown Boston, a luxury apartment on the 25th floor with skyline view. The door opened, showing Amanda with tense face and sad face. Hi, Dad. Come in. I went inside and sat down as Amanda sat across from me with her hands shaking. Dad, I have to tell you something that's really hard, she began. I'm listening, sweetheart, I encouraged. She took a deep breath. Dad, you can't come to the wedding. The world stopped. What did you say? You weren't invited to the wedding because Preston's family has a guest list with only important people at the ceremony, she explained. I froze completely. Amanda, I'm your father. How could I not be invited? I know, Dad, but Preston's mother, Margaret, said, you're not the kind of person who matters to these people, she revealed. Pain hit my chest. Physical pain. I'm not the important kind? Dad, I understand you're upset, but they have standards, social standards, where you're a construction worker and they're an elite circle, she stated. A construction worker? I questioned. Yes, Dad. And Preston's business partners are coming, including CEOs, investors, and even senators, so you won't feel comfortable among these people, she claimed. I cried inside, but my face remained emotionless. Amanda, I raised you on my own. I sent you to Princeton, I sent you to Harvard, and I spent every penny I had on you, and now you're telling me I don't matter. Dad, please don't misunderstand because I love you, but this is Preston's family's decision, she deflected. Does Preston know about this decision? I asked. She hesitated. Yes, he agrees because his family is very important to him. What do you think, Amanda? Do you want me to be there? I pressed. Silence fell, long silence as she looked away. Dad, I'm marrying Preston, and I have to respect his family. But for you, I'll throw a separate party after the wedding where your construction buddies will come and we'll have a barbecue. Then I'll visit you, I promise, she offered. Barbecue, construction buddies, and separate party echoed in my mind. Amanda was ashamed of me, truly ashamed. I stood up. Amanda, I understand. You're in Preston's world now, and I don't belong in that world. Dad, please don't be angry, she started. I'm not angry, baby. I'm just sad, very sad, I stated. Dad, she tried. Good luck at your wedding, and I wish you happiness, I concluded. I left the apartment quickly, taking the stairs because I couldn't wait for the elevator. I got in my car and cried loudly, thinking 30 years I gave everything, and I wasn't even invited. Sarah, I said, our daughter has forgotten us, and she's ashamed of me. Am I a failure as a father? If you were here, what would you do? No answer came, but something inside me changed, where sadness turned to anger and disappointment turned to determination. That night I came home, sat down, and thought long and hard. Amanda must learn, Preston must learn, and Margaret must learn. They must learn who I am, and they must learn the lesson of their lives. That night, I sat down at my desk and took out documents, files that I had kept for years, showing Morrison Holdings LLC, my company, a real estate development company. Amanda didn't know, and she never knew, because I kept it secret, very secret. I started in 1990 after Sarah died, 2 years later, with a small project of an old building that I renovated and sold for profit. Second project and third project followed, where every time I made profit that I invested and grew. Within 10 years, I owned 12 commercial properties, including office buildings, retail centers, and a hotel. The Riverside Grand Hotel I bought in 2005 when it was a failing hotel for $5 million, where I invested everything I had. I renovated it, taking 2 years and spending another $3 million for a total investment of $8 million. I opened it in 2007 as the new Riverside Grand Hotel, a luxury hotel with conference rooms and wedding halls where the largest was the ballroom holding 400 people. It was successful, very successful, becoming one of the most sought-after wedding venues in Massachusetts. Every week brought weddings, engagements, and conferences, generating stable income of $5 million a year. The hotel's value in 2011 was $35 million, increasing sevenfold. My other properties, including office buildings and retail, had total value of $155 million. Morrison Holdings, LLC total portfolio, $190 million. $190 million where I was a rich man, but no one knew. Why did I hide it? Because I didn't want Amanda to become spoiled, and I didn't want her to become entitled. I wanted to say, earn it yourself and achieve it yourself, because Sarah would have wanted that too. But the plan failed, because Amanda still became spoiled, still became entitled, and was ashamed of me. Now she'll learn, and they'll all learn. The next day, I called my lawyer, Martin Pierce, who's been my lawyer for 30 years, a reliable man. Martin, Amanda's wedding is at the Riverside Grand Hotel, my hotel. Yes, Richard, I know. I saw the records showing June 2012 with a large reservation, he confirmed. Martin, I wasn't invited to the wedding, I revealed. Silence fell. What? How come? Amanda said Preston's family didn't want me because they said I wasn't important, I explained. Richard, that's unbelievable. Your own daughter at your hotel, he responded. Yes, Martin, isn't it funny? I observed. What do you want me to do? He asked. Do some research on Preston Blackwood III, Preston's family, and Blackwood Textiles. Find out everything and find out their real situation, I instructed. Understood. When do you want it? He confirmed. 2 weeks. I want your report in 2 weeks, I specified. Okay, Richard. I'll do it, he agreed. 2 weeks later, Martin came in with a thick file. Richard, sit down because I found out some very interesting things. I'm listening, I said. Preston Blackwood III is 30 years old with Harvard MBA as family portfolio manager. But the portfolio is in bad shape, he began. What do you mean? I questioned. Blackwood Textiles has been a family business since the 1800s, but the last 20 years brought losses from Chinese competition and cheap imports, where factories closed with only 2 factories remaining that operate at a loss, he explained. The family fortune, I pressed. In 1990 it was worth $100 million, but now it's $15 million, mostly houses and cars with very few liquid assets, he revealed. Preston's father has debts of $35 million, where the banks are pressuring him with foreclosure threat, he added. I was shocked. So Preston's family is about to go bankrupt, yes, Martin confirmed. What about Amanda's trust fund? I asked. Martin opened another page. Trust fund that you set up in 2006 when Amanda turned 25 for $1 million. How much is it now? I questioned. With interest, it's $2,300,000, and Amanda can access it where she'll have full control when she gets married, he stated. Does Preston know? I pressed. Martin looked at me seriously. Richard, Preston knows definitively because the private investigator's findings show Preston's lawyer looked into Amanda's financial situation and found out about the trust fund. So Preston is marrying for the money? I concluded. We can't prove it, but the timing is suspicious because Amanda's trust fund would pay off the Blackwood family's debts in full, Martin observed. Anger came, pure anger, because Preston was using Amanda for money to pay off the family debt. Martin, one more thing. The wedding at the Riverside Grand Hotel reservation, can I cancel it? I asked. Richard, it's your property, so of course you can cancel it, but legally you have to give them notice 30 days in advance, he explained. No, Martin, no advance notice. I'll cancel it on the wedding day when the guests arrive, I decided. Martin was surprised. Richard, that's harsh where Amanda will be so embarrassed. Amanda embarrassed me, Martin, where she said, you're not important. So now she'll learn who's important and who's not, I stated. Martin nodded. It's your decision, Richard, and I'll prepare the documents. One more thing, Martin. The trust fund, cancel it and terminate it, I instructed. What? Richard, that's Amanda's money, he protested. I set it up with my money, Martin, so I can terminate it with my decision. Is it legal? I questioned. It's legal, but Richard, he started. Terminate it and donate the money to St. Mary's Children's Home because I grew up there as an orphan, so donate it there, I ordered. Martin was silent for a long time. Okay, Richard, I'll do it. But think about it because this is an irreversible decision. I've thought about it, Martin, for 30 years, where Amanda chose Preston and chose the money, so now it's time for the consequences, I concluded. June 2012 arrived, wedding month, with June 15th as wedding day. I got up in the morning, took a shower, shaved, and put on my oldest suit, a 15-year-old suit with worn collar and faded color. My shoes were 20-year-old leather shoes, cracked and worn out. I looked in the mirror seeing an old man, 68 years old with tired face and calloused hands. Richard, I said to myself, today Amanda will learn the lesson of her life. Are you ready? I was ready, absolutely ready. 4 p.m, I went to the Riverside Grand Hotel, my hotel, through the back door. The hotel manager, James, came out. Mr. Morrison? The wedding is today. Yes, James, I know, I acknowledged. Everything is ready where the ballroom looks magnificent, with 400 people, crystal chandeliers, and orchestra. It's going to be fabulous, he enthused. James, listen now. The wedding is canceled, I stated. What? Canceled? Why? He questioned. Personal reasons with no details, just prepare because once the wedding starts and the guests arrive, you'll make the announcement, I instructed. But Mr. Morrison, this is too late. The food is ready, the orchestra is ready, 400 guests are coming, he protested. I know, James, but my decision is final, so prepare, I confirmed. James was stunned but obeyed. Yes, sir, it's your decision. 5 o'clock came when the guests began to arrive in expensive cars, including Mercedes, BMW, and Bentley, wearing fancy dresses, tuxedos, and wedding gowns. An elite crowd showing Preston's world of important people. They entered the ballroom where crystal chandeliers sparkled, the orchestra played soft melodies, and champagne was being served at $800 a bottle. Everything was perfect and magnificent. A $1,200,000 wedding. 6 o'clock arrived when the ceremony began with Preston standing at the front as a handsome groom in tuxedo and bow tie. The music started as Amanda arrived in her wedding dress, white wedding dress, beautiful and very beautiful, looking like Sarah. But who was beside her and arm in arm with her? Preston's father, Charles Blackwood, was walking Amanda down the aisle because I wasn't there. I wasn't invited. Amanda was smiling in her wedding dress, looking happy, but her eyes were empty with no real happiness. The ceremony began as the priest spoke. Dear guests, we are gathered today to celebrate the union of Preston and Amanda. I entered through the back door quietly, where no one noticed, because the hall was dark, with only the front lit, showing the ceremony area. I stopped in the back rows watching my daughter for the last time. The priest continued. Eternal love, loyalty, lies, all lies. Because Preston doesn't love Amanda, but loves money and loves the trust fund. The ceremony ended. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Preston kissed Amanda as applause rang out from 400 people. The music started, the dancing started, and the food service was ready. Now was the time. I walked into the hall through the main door where the lights were on and everyone saw me. 15-year-old suit, worn-out shoes, calloused hands showing construction worker. Amanda turned, saw me, froze, and her face went white. What? Dad? What are you doing here? She ran, grabbed the microphone from the conductor, and spoke loudly. This man doesn't belong here. He's embarrassing us. Silence fell. Complete silence. Where 400 guests froze, the orchestra stopped, and champagne glasses froze in midair. Everyone looked at me. The old man in old clothes, questioning who is this? I just smiled with a calm smile. I took a business card out of my pocket, a small business card showing Morrison Holdings, LLC. I walked over to Sarah, the event coordinator, and showed her the card. Sarah's face went white. Mr. Morrison, Amanda never mentioned. I know, Sarah. Now listen very carefully, I said. I leaned forward and whispered sternly, this hall, this hotel, is mine as Morrison Holdings LLC, where I'm the owner, and now due to unforeseen ownership issues, the venue is closing immediately. Sarah was shocked. What? But the wedding? All guests will leave within 15 minutes with no food service, where the food in the kitchen will be donated to a homeless shelter, and the champagne, the decorations, and the orchestra, everything is being shut down, I instructed. But Mr. Morrison, she started. 15 minutes, Sarah. Make the announcement now, I ordered. Sarah trembled as she went to the microphone. Dear guests, unfortunately due to an unexpected technical issue, the venue must close. Please evacuate the building within 15 minutes, and we apologize. Chaos erupted, total chaos, where the guests were stunned, asking what's happening? Why? What does this mean? Amanda and Preston froze in horror. What? Why is it closing? I just stared for a long time at Amanda, at my daughter, for the last time. And I turned and left through the back door quietly. The wedding was over in 10 minutes as 400 guests left stunned and confused. $1,200,000 wedding was ruined. And Amanda began to learn who her father was. The hall was emptying, where 400 guests, stunned and confused, were walking toward the door. Crystal glasses were left half full on the tables. The orchestra was packing up their cases, Champagne bottles remained unopened, and the food worth $90,000 was waiting in the kitchen. Amanda stood in the middle wearing her wedding dress while crying loudly, "Why? Why is it closing? Who did this?" Preston was beside her, frantic and angry. "Amanda, calm down. We'll find out, and I'll talk to hotel management." He ran to coordinator Sarah. "You! Explain. What does this mean? Technical problem? What problem?" Sarah was trembling as she looked at me standing at the back door watching. Then she turned to Preston. "Mr. Blackwood, I just received orders from upper management where the venue is closing, and I can't give details," she explained. "Who is upper management? Who owns the hotel? I'll talk to them," Preston demanded. Sarah hesitated. "The owner is Morrison Holdings, LLC." Preston froze. "Morrison? That name is familiar. Who is this Morrison?" Amanda looked up through tears. "Morrison is my father's surname, Richard Morrison." Preston was shocked. "Your father? Your father owns this hotel?" "I don't know. My dad is a construction worker. How could he own a hotel?" Amanda questioned. But I was moving forward slowly toward the lobby where guests were leaving, though Amanda and Preston were still there in shock. Amanda saw me and turned. "Dad, did you do this?" I stopped 10 meters away and looked at my daughter for a long time. "Yes, Amanda, I did." "Why? Why did you ruin my wedding?" she screamed. "Because you ruined me, Amanda, where you said, 'You don't matter.' You said you weren't invited. And you said, 'Have a barbecue with your construction buddies,'" I explained. Preston stepped in. "Mr. Morrison, this is unprofessional. Personal matters don't mix with business." "Professional? Preston, you're talking about professionalism? You're the man who used my daughter for money?" I challenged. Preston froze. "What? I love Amanda." "Lies. You love Amanda's trust fund. You love the $2,300,000. And you love the money that will pay off the Blackwood family's debt," I revealed. Silence fell. Complete silence, where Preston's face flushed and Amanda was stunned. "Dad? What are you saying?" "What debt?" Amanda questioned. "Amanda, Preston's family is about to go bankrupt with $35 million in debt, where the factories are closed, the fortune is gone, and your trust fund is their last hope," I explained. Preston trembled. "That's a lie. You're trying to tear us apart." I smiled with a cold smile. "Preston, there's a private investigator's report where the lawyers investigated Amanda's finances and everything is on record, so don't lie." Amanda looked at Preston. "Preston, is this true? Is your family going bankrupt?" Preston bowed his head in silence. Long silence. "Preston, answer me," Amanda demanded. Preston whispered, "Yes, it's true. But I love you, Amanda, not for the money." "Lies!" Amanda screamed. "It's all lies! You used me! You wanted my money!" She gathered up her wedding dress, ran out into the hall toward the lobby, and was gone. Preston ran after her. "Amanda, wait!" I stayed alone in the empty hall where the crystal chandeliers still sparkled, but it was quiet, very quiet. Coordinator Sarah approached. "Mr. Morrison, I'm so sorry. If I had known Amanda was your daughter—" "It's okay, Sarah. You did your job, so now send the food in the kitchen to the homeless shelter with the champagne too. Everything, and don't let it go to waste," I instructed. "Yes, sir. We'll take care of it right away," she confirmed. I turned and left to the lobby where Amanda was sitting in her wedding dress on the couch, crying. Preston was gone, having run away. I approached slowly. "Amanda." She lifted her head with red eyes and smudged makeup. "Dad, how could you do this? I'm your daughter." "Yes, Amanda, you are my daughter, but you forgot me, you were ashamed of me, and you said, 'You're not important,'" I stated. "But Dad, this is too much." "You ruined my wedding. 400 people, they all witnessed it," she protested. I sat down next to her. Amanda, I gave you everything for 30 years with every penny and every minute, including Princeton, Harvard, trust fund, and everything. And you told me, you're a construction worker, you're not important, saying I didn't belong in Preston's elite world, I continued. But there's something you don't know, Amanda. I'm not just a construction worker because I own Morrison Holdings LLC with a $190 million portfolio, including 12 commercial properties. And this hotel, the Riverside Grand Hotel, is mine, I revealed. Amanda was shocked. What? You're rich? Yes, but I hid it because I didn't want you to become spoiled where I wanted you to earn it yourself. But I failed because you became spoiled anyway. And you were ashamed of me, I explained. Dad, I didn't know, she started. You didn't have to know, Amanda. But you should have loved me and you should have respected me because whether I was a construction worker or a millionaire, I'm your father and you rejected me, I stated. She cried loudly. Dad, I'm sorry, so sorry. I acted foolishly where Preston's family influenced me and I made a mistake. Is an apology enough, Amanda? 30 years of sacrifice and 30 years of love, and you sacrificed me for a wedding, I challenged. Dad, please forgive me. What can I do? I'll do whatever you want, she pleaded. I paused and thought. Amanda, Martin is coming now, my lawyer, and he'll give you the documents that you'll sign. What documents? She questioned. You'll find out, I replied. 10 minutes later, Martin arrived with briefcase in hand and serious face. Richard, everything is ready and the documents are here. Thank you, Martin. Give them to Amanda, I instructed. Martin approached Amanda. Ms. Cooper, these documents require your signature. Amanda trembled as she took the documents and read them slowly, where her face grew paler and paler. What? What does this mean? The trust fund is being dissolved? She questioned. Yes, Amanda. $2,300,000 that I set up. I'm dissolving, I confirmed. But Dad, this is my money. You gave it to me, she protested. Yes, I did, but I gave it to you to help you mature and to use wisely. But you were going to share it with Preston to pay off Blackwood's debt, weren't you? I challenged. She hesitated. I didn't know. Don't lie, Amanda. Preston's mother, Margaret, told you the family is in debt and the trust fund could help. So admit it. I pressed. She bowed her head. Yes, Margaret mentioned it, but I wanted to help because I loved him. Amanda, they used you where they married you for money, and you let them because you wanted to belong to their world. You wanted to be elite, and you rejected me because I didn't fit into that world, I stated. Dad, please don't take the money back because I need it for the wedding expenses and the house, she begged. There are no wedding expenses now because Preston's family was going to pay. But now Preston has run away, right? Without your money, Preston is gone, I observed. Amanda cried. Yes, he's gone. His phone is off and I can't reach him. Because he didn't love you, Amanda. He loved money. And now there's no money, so no Preston, I concluded. Martin handed her another document. Ms. Cooper, the trust fund is being donated to St. Mary's Children's Home with $2,300,000. $1,000 for the orphans, the home where your father grew up. What? To the orphans? She questioned. I spoke up. Yes, Amanda. I was an orphan where my mother died when I was 6. I had no father, and I grew up at St. Mary's with no money. But I worked hard, and I built a life for myself. You were an orphan? Why didn't you ever tell me? She asked. Because I wasn't ashamed of my past, Amanda. But you were ashamed of who I am now, where you were ashamed of me being a construction worker. But I came out of that orphanage and became a millionaire on my own. But you didn't want to see that, I explained. Now those orphaned children will get an education with your trust fund, where they'll go to college and fulfill their dreams, not spoiled like you. But hardworking kids, I continued. Amanda collapsed and fell to the floor in her wedding dress while crying and sobbing. Dad, please, forgive me and give me my money back. I'll start over. I promise. I'll change. I bent down and looked at her face closely. Amanda, I gave you 30 years, and now you will learn where you will learn to live on your own without money and without a father. But Dad, she pleaded. Martin, get the papers signed because I'm leaving, I ordered. I got up and walked toward the door as Amanda yelled, Dad! Don't go, please! I stopped, turned around, and looked one last time. Amanda, I love you and I always will, but sometimes the greatest gift a parent can give is to let their child face the consequences of their own choices. You've learned your life's lesson, so now live, I concluded. I left the lobby in the hotel, got in my car, and started the engine. But I didn't move as I sat for a long time. I cried because for the first time since the wedding, I really cried. Because Amanda was gone and my daughter was gone. But I made the right decision. Definitely the right decision. Sarah's voice echoed in my ears. Sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes justice is needed. Yes, justice came, and today justice came. 3 months passed to September 2012. Amanda didn't call, didn't text, nothing. I waited in case she called or in case she apologized, but silence continued. My construction buddy Joe asked one day, Richard, how's Amanda? Any news since the wedding? No, Joe, she hasn't called, I replied. I'm sorry, buddy, but you did the right thing because she used you and Preston used you too, so they deserved it, he stated. I hope so, Joe, I hope so, I said. But inside I was curious about what Amanda was doing, where she was, and how she was living. In October, Martin called. Richard, I gathered some information about Amanda. Do you want to know? Tell me, Martin, I requested. Amanda left McKinsey where she quit because of the scandal, and the wedding scandal was talked about at the company, so Amanda left in shame, he revealed. What's she doing now? I asked. Working waitressing at downtown Boston's The Ivy restaurant for $25 an hour plus tips, he explained. I was shocked. A waitress? Amanda, with Harvard MBA, is a waitress? Yes, Richard. She couldn't find another job because the wedding scandal cast a shadow over her resume, where her references were weak and no one wanted her, he confirmed. What about Preston? I questioned. Preston fled to Florida to his uncle's place in Miami where the Blackwood family left Boston. The house was sold, the factories closed, and bankruptcy was declared, he reported. Silence fell. Long silence. Amanda is alone? Yes, Richard. All by herself in small apartment in Dorchester neighborhood, bad neighborhood, with monthly rent of $1,200 where she's struggling to pay it, he stated. My heart tightened because Amanda was struggling, but it's her choice and her consequences. Martin, follow her and find out what she's doing, but don't intervene because she has to learn on her own, I instructed. Understood, Richard, he confirmed. November brought Thanksgiving that I spent alone at home by myself. The construction crew invited me. Richard, come with us for Thanksgiving dinner at Joe's house. Thanks, but I'll stay home, I declined. That night I looked at Sarah's photo. Sarah, our daughter fell hard. Did I do the right thing? What would you say? No answer came, but I felt it inside where Sarah would say, Richard, you did the right thing because Amanda needs to learn the hard way. December arrived when Martin called again. Richard, Amanda was taken to the hospital. My heart raced. What? What happened? Exhaustion and malnutrition where she worked too hard, didn't eat enough, and passed out at the restaurant, so the ambulance took her, he explained. Is it serious? I pressed. No, they gave her saline and she needs to rest where she stayed in the hospital for 2 days, then was discharged, he assured. Was she alone? I asked. Yes, No visitors and no friends. Completely alone, he confirmed. Pain hit my chest. Physical pain. Because Amanda was suffering. But she still hasn't called and still hasn't apologized. Martin, who paid the hospital bill? I questioned. Amanda with her credit card. But the limit was maxed out and it was declined, so the hospital set up a payment plan for $500 a month for 6 months, he revealed. Set up a payment plan, Martin, anonymously, and give it to the hospital, but don't let Amanda know, I instructed. Richard, are you sure? You're angry with her, he questioned. I'm angry, but she's still my daughter where she shouldn't have hospital debt. But Amanda shouldn't know and she should find out on her own, I stated. Okay, Richard, I'll take care of it, he agreed. June 2013 arrived. A year has passed since the wedding. Martin called, Richard, update on Amanda. I'm listening, I encouraged. Amanda is still waitressing, but she got promoted to shift supervisor where her pay went up to $40 an hour, plus tip management, he reported. Good? Anything else? I asked. She moved out of her apartment to smaller place, a studio for $600 a month, saving money and living frugally, he continued. Has she made friends? I questioned. Yes, at the restaurant with the other waiters who are simple people and hard-working people where Amanda spends time with them, he observed. Good, I acknowledged. Martin paused. Richard, one more thing. Amanda is volunteering on weekends at the homeless kitchen serving meals. I was surprised. Volunteering? Yes. It's been 3 months where every Saturday from 8 in the morning until 2 she gives food to the homeless, he confirmed. My eyes welled up because Amanda was changing slowly, but she was changing. Martin, keep following her but still don't intervene, I instructed. Okay, Richard, he agreed. August 2013 brought my birthday where I turned 70. The doorbell rang, making me wonder who could it be. Did the construction crew bring a cake? I opened the door to find Amanda. I froze completely as Amanda stood there in simple dress with no makeup and hair pulled back, thin and very thin, but the eyes had changed, becoming softer and more real. Hello, Dad, she said. Amanda, how did you find this place? I asked. I always knew Dad because I never forgot the address, she explained. What do you want? I questioned. Can I come in? I want to talk, she requested. I hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in. She came into the apartment and looked around at the small apartment with old furniture and simple decor. Dad, was this place always like this, so small? She observed. Yes, I've lived here for 30 years, I confirmed. But you're a millionaire. Why do you live like this? She questioned. I sat down. Because, Amanda, money doesn't bring happiness where humility does, and a simple life does. And I always knew that. But you have to learn it. Amanda sat down and clasped her hands. Dad, I came to apologize with a real apology because a year has passed where I suffered for a year, becoming a waitress, getting sick, being alone, and losing everything. And I understood where you were right because I was spoiled. And Preston's world is fake where money isn't everything and family is true wealth, she continued. My eyes filled with tears. Amanda, have you really changed? Or did you come for the money? No, Dad, I don't want money. I just want you. I want my dad, and I want to apologize. So if you can't forgive me, I understand. But I had to say it because I'm so sorry, she stated. She cried quietly with real tears, not fake. I got up, went to her, knelt down, and hugged her for a long time. Amanda, I've always loved you, and I never stopped loving you, but you had to learn life's lesson. I understand, Dad, because I learned the hard way. But I understand, she acknowledged. What are you doing now? I asked. waitressing at the Ivy restaurant as shift supervisor, and on weekends I volunteer at the homeless kitchen at St. Mary's Church, she explained. St. Mary's? I questioned. Yes, next to the orphanage where you grew up, because the church feeds the homeless, and I help out. Because you grew up there, and I wanted to understand your pain, she revealed. I cried loudly. Amanda, you've really changed. Yes, Dad. And one more thing. I divorced Preston officially on August 1st where the court approved it. So I'm not a Blackwood anymore, and I'm a Morrison again, she stated. Good baby, good, I replied. That day we talked for a long time, for hours, where Amanda told me everything about the hard days, the hungry days, and the lonely days. Dad, one day I was taken to the hospital when I fainted from malnutrition, and I was alone in the hospital with no visitors. And that's when I realized. No real friends and no real family. Just you, but I lost you, she explained. You didn't lose me, Amanda, because I've always been here, I assured her. The hospital bill was so high, but then I found out someone paid it anonymously. Was it you, Dad? She asked. I smiled. Maybe, maybe not, and it doesn't matter. Amanda hugged me tightly. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for everything. September 2013 arrived, 2 months after Amanda's visit. I called Martin. Martin, I want a new project. Tell me, Richard, he encouraged. The Richard Morrison Scholarship Program for St. Mary's Children's Home for Orphaned Children with full scholarships for college education, I outlined. What's the budget? He asked. $5 million first year, with 10 children each year getting full scholarships, including tuition, books, dorm, and meals. Everything, I specified. Great idea, Richard. I'll get it ready, he confirmed. In October, I went to St. Mary's and met with the director, Sister Margaret. Mr. Morrison, welcome, and it's good to see you, she greeted. Thank you, Sister. I'd like to make a proposal, I stated. I explained the program. $5 million with 10 children per year getting full scholarship. Sister Margaret cried, Mr. Morrison, this is incredible because our children will be able to go to university and fulfill their dreams. Yes, Sister. I grew up here, and I was lucky, so now I want to give others a chance, I explained. God bless you, Mr. Morrison, she replied. In November, the first 10 children were selected, ages 16 to 18. Smart kids and hard-working kids, but poor. I met them. Hello, kids. I'm Richard Morrison, and this program is mine for you. Thank you, Mr. Morrison, they all said together. You're welcome, but there's one condition. You'll work hard and you'll graduate. Then you'll help other children by giving back, okay? I instructed. Okay, Mr. Morrison. They agreed. The first child was James, 17 years old, with no parents after a car accident, left him orphaned at age 10. James, what do you want to study? I asked. Engineering, Mr. Morrison, civil engineering, because I want to design buildings, he explained. My eyes welled up. Great, James. I'm in the construction industry, and I'll help you. James got into MIT with full scholarship, the Richard Morrison Scholarship, and I was proud, very proud. June 2014 arrived. 2 years had passed since the wedding. Amanda visited regularly once a week and sometimes twice. Dad, I got a promotion at work today as assistant manager at the restaurant, she announced. Great, baby. I'm so proud of you, I replied. And I started night school at community college taking business classes, learning again, and on the right track, she added. Perfect, Amanda. That's the right track, I encouraged. August 2014 brought Amanda's 33rd birthday. I invited her to St. Mary's. Amanda, I want to show you something. We went to the children's home where Sister Margaret greeted us. Amanda, welcome, my dear. Your father talks about you so much. Amanda was surprised. Really? Yes. You volunteer in the homeless kitchen, don't you? Your father is so proud, Sister Margaret confirmed. We went out into the garden where there was a bronze plaque, on the wall. The Richard Morrison Scholarship Program was established in 2013 to provide university education to orphaned children. Sometimes the greatest gift a parent can give is to allow their child to face the consequences of their own choices. Richard Morrison. Amanda read it and cried, "Dad, this is beautiful, so beautiful, and your words are the words you said to me." "Yes, Amanda, I told you, and you learned by facing it and changing," I stated. "And now other children are learning with your money, your old trust fund," she observed. "Yes, better use? Do you agree?" I asked. "Yes, Dad, I definitely agree," she confirmed. That day I introduced Amanda to 10 children. "Kids, this is my daughter Amanda who's learning just like you, learning about life." James spoke up. "Hi, Amanda. Your dad is awesome. He sent me to MIT. Amanda smiled with a real smile. "I know, James. My dad is the best dad. And I realized it late, but I finally realized it." Final scene. 2 years later, June 2016 arrived. 4 years have passed since the wedding. A gathering took place in St. Mary's Garden for the Richard Morrison Scholarship Program graduation, where the first group is graduating. James takes the stage and receives his diploma from MIT in civil engineering, magna cum laude. Applause rings out as everyone is applauding, where I'm in the front row with Amanda next to me, the two of us together. James speaks. "Mr. Morrison, thank you, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. And you gave me a chance, you gave me life, so I will give back, I promise." Applause continues, long applause. After the ceremony, Amanda observes, "Dad, look at James being happy and successful because of you." "No, Amanda, because of his own hard work, because I just opened the door and he walked through it," I corrected. "But if you hadn't opened the door, he wouldn't have walked through it," she reasoned. I smiled. "True, and you walked through it too, Amanda, the hard way. But you walked, and now you're strong, truly strong." "Dad, I want to ask you something," she stated. "Ask, baby," I encouraged. "On the wedding day, you were so angry that day, but you had planned everything. How did you stay so calm?" she questioned. I paused and thought, "Amanda, there was anger, but there was more, including disappointment and sadness, but also hope." "Hope?" she questioned. "Yes, hope that you would learn and change and become the real Amanda, not the Amanda who loved money, but the Amanda who loved people," I explained. "And I did, Dad. I changed," she confirmed. "I know, baby, I know," I acknowledged. That day on the way home, I looked at Sarah's photo in the car that I always carry with me. "Sarah, our girl is back where she got lost, but she found herself, and she made mistakes, but she learned. So would you be proud?" I asked. The wind blew as if Sarah was answering. "Yes, Richard. I would be proud because you're a good father, a tough father, but a fair father, and Amanda is lucky. And you're lucky too because now you have your real daughter." I smiled with a peaceful smile. Yes, I have my real daughter, where Amanda is now a Morrison. A real Morrison who is humble, hardworking, and kind-hearted. And I am at peace now because the lesson I taught, life's lesson, saved Amanda. Sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes justice is needed, where sometimes the hardest lesson is the best lesson. And on that wedding day, June 2012, I gave my daughter the greatest gift of her life. The truth, the pain, and the opportunity for change. Because sometimes the greatest gift a parent can give is to allow their child to face the consequences of their own choices. And Amanda faced them, she learned, and she changed. That's enough. That's everything. June 2019 arrived. 7 years have passed since the wedding day. Amanda is now 38 years old, working as general manager at the Ivy restaurant, the same place where she started as a waitress. She earned her business degree from community college through night school, proving she could succeed on her own merit. Every Saturday morning, she still volunteers at St. Mary's Homeless Kitchen, where she's been serving for 6 years straight. The Richard Morrison Scholarship Program has grown, where it now supports 50 students annually, with 15 having graduated so far. James, the first scholarship recipient, works at Morrison Holdings LLC as a junior civil engineer, where I hired him after his MIT graduation. "Mr. Morrison, thank you for giving me this opportunity," James said on his first day. "You earned it, James, through your hard work, and I'm just proud to have you on the team," I replied. Amanda visits me 3 times a week, where we have dinner together, talk about life, and sometimes visit Sarah's grave together. "Dad, I want to tell you something," Amanda said one evening. "I'm listening, sweetheart," I encouraged. "I met someone, a teacher at the community college named David, who teaches history, and he's a good man, humble and kind, who volunteers at the homeless shelter too," she explained. "That's wonderful, Amanda. When can I meet him?" I asked. "Next week if you're free, and Dad, he knows everything about what happened 7 years ago, where I told him the whole story, and he said, 'Your father taught you the most valuable lesson anyone could learn,'" she shared. My eyes welled up. "I'd love to meet him, Amanda." The following week, David came to dinner, a genuine man in his 40s, wearing simple clothes with kind eyes and warm smile. "Mr. Morrison, it's an honor to meet you. Amanda speaks about you constantly," he said. "Please call me Richard, and welcome, David," I replied. We talked for hours about education, life, values, and family, where David shared his own story of growing up poor and working his way through college. "David reminds me of you, Dad. The old you, the real you," Amanda whispered to me in the kitchen. "That's because he has character, Amanda, and that's worth more than all the money in the world," I observed. 1 year later, in June 2020, Amanda and David had a small wedding. 20 people attended, including me, Amanda's closest friends from the restaurant, David's family, Sister Margaret, and the scholarship students, including James. The ceremony took place in St. Mary's Garden, simple and beautiful. Amanda wore a modest white dress that cost $300, not the $15,000 gown from 7 years ago. I walked her down the aisle this time, and when the priest asked, "Who gives this woman to be married?" I replied with tears in my eyes, "Her mother Sarah and I do." The reception was in the church hall with homemade food, donated wine, and a local DJ, where the total cost was $3,000. "Dad, this wedding cost $3,000 compared to the $1,200,000 wedding 7 years ago. Which one feels more real?" Amanda asked while dancing with me. "This one, Amanda, definitely this one, because this one is built on love, not status," I replied. "I was so foolish back then, Dad, chasing the wrong things and forgetting what mattered," she reflected. "But you learned, Amanda, and that's what matters. Some people never learn, but you did," I stated. After the wedding, Amanda and David moved into a small apartment, not a mansion, where they budget carefully, save money, and live within their means. Amanda never asked me for financial help, never asked about inheritance, and never asked about Morrison Holdings LLC. She built her life on her own terms, the right way. December 2023 arrived, and I'm now 79 years old. My health is declining, where the doctors say I have maybe 2 years left, and I'm at peace with that, because I've lived a full life. I called Martin to my apartment. "Martin, it's time to finalize my will." "I'm ready, Richard. What are your wishes?" he asked. "Morrison Holdings LLC and all assets, currently valued at $350 million, will be divided as follows," I began. 50% to the Richard Morrison Scholarship Program endowment, ensuring it continues forever," I stated. 25% to St. Mary's Children's Home for facility improvements and operations, I continued. 20% to Amanda, but with conditions. She cannot access it until she's 50 years old, and she must continue volunteering and living modestly until then, I specified. 5% divided among my construction crew, the loyal men who worked beside me for decades, I concluded. Martin was surprised. Richard, only 20% to Amanda? Are you sure? Yes, Martin, because giving her too much would undo everything she learned. The money she gets at 50 will be a reward for living right, not an escape from living right, I explained. And the remaining 80% creating lasting change for children who need it most, just like I once did, I added. You're a wise man, Richard, Martin acknowledged. No, Martin. I'm just a father who learned that the greatest wealth we can give our children isn't money, but character. And the greatest gift isn't comfort, but the ability to overcome discomfort, I reflected. That Christmas, Amanda and David invited me to their apartment for dinner. The apartment was decorated simply with handmade ornaments and a small tree. Dad, I have news, Amanda announced with glowing face. I'm pregnant. You're going to be a grandfather, she revealed. I cried tears of joy. Amanda, that's wonderful. Sarah would be so happy. Dad, if it's a girl, we're naming her Sarah, after Mom, she stated. And if it's a boy, we're naming him Richard, after you, David added. You honor me, both of you, I replied while wiping my eyes. That night, as I was leaving, Amanda hugged me tightly. Dad, thank you for everything, especially for that day 7 years ago when you shut down my wedding. I hated you that day, I really did, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it woke me up and showed me who I really was, she explained. And now I have a real life, a real marriage, and real happiness. Not the fake life I was chasing with Preston, she continued. You saved me, Dad, by letting me fall, and I'll never forget that, she concluded. I held her face in my hands. Amanda, I love you. I always have, and I always will. And I'm so proud of the woman you've become. Not the Princeton graduate or the Harvard MBA, but the woman who serves food to the homeless every Saturday. The woman who lives modestly and loves genuinely. That woman is my greatest achievement, I stated. We both cried and held each other for a long time. 6 months later, July 2024, I passed away peacefully in my sleep at age 79. My funeral was held at St. Mary's Church, where over 300 people attended, including Amanda and David, the construction crew, Sister Margaret, all 50 scholarship students past and present, and dozens of people whose lives I'd touched. Amanda gave the eulogy. My father, Richard Morrison, was the best man I ever knew, though I didn't realize it until it was almost too late. He taught me the hardest lesson of my life by shutting down my wedding 7 years ago, and I hated him for it. But it saved me, she shared. He showed me that love sometimes means saying no, that character matters more than status, and that the greatest wealth is not what you have but who you are, she continued. Dad, you were right about everything, and I'm sorry it took me so long to see it, but I see it now. And I'll make sure your grandchild knows who you were, she concluded. James also spoke. Mr. Morrison gave me a chance when no one else would. He saw potential in a scared orphan kid and believed in me. He didn't just give me money for education. He gave me hope, dignity, and a future, and I'll spend my life paying that forward, he stated. At the burial site next to Sarah's grave, Amanda placed a single rose. Mom and Dad, you're together again, and thank you for loving me enough to let me fail so I could learn to succeed. The headstone reads, Richard Morrison, 1944 to 2024. Beloved father, generous benefactor, teacher of life's greatest lessons. Sometimes the greatest gift a parent can give is to allow their child to face the consequences of their own choices. 5 years later, in 2029, Amanda's daughter Sarah is 5 years old, and her son Richard is 3 years old. Every Saturday morning, Amanda takes them to St. Mary's Homeless Kitchen, where they help serve food. "Mommy, why do we come here every week?" little Sarah asks. "Because your grandfather taught me that real happiness comes from serving others, not from having things," Amanda explains. "And because we're blessed, and when you're blessed, you bless others," she adds. "Tell us about Grandpa Richard," little Richard requests. Amanda smiles and begins. "Your grandfather was the wisest man who ever lived, and he taught me the most important lesson." And so the legacy continues, where Richard Morrison's lesson lives on through his daughter, his grandchildren, and the hundreds of scholarship students whose lives he changed. Sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes justice is needed. But always, always, the hardest lessons are the ones we need most. If you liked this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. Click on the box on the left to listen to the next story.